Some supercars are built to make people dream. Carbon fiber bodies, roaring engines, and speeds that make every eye stop and stare. But with one press of the accelerator too hard, one mistimed corner, a million-dollar dream can turn into a tragedy. Today we're looking back at some of the most haunting supercar crashes, where fame and recklessness came with a devastating price. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to support us. That day began like an ordinary gathering of car enthusiasts. Paul Walker was not in front of a camera, not filming a chase scene, and there was no director yelling cut. He was simply a passenger in a Porsche Carrera GT driven by his friend Roger Rodas. But that very car, a machine known for being notoriously difficult to tame, turned a public road in California into the final setting for both men. The Carrera GT was not the kind of car that forgives mistakes. The engine roared behind the cabin, the body was lightweight, and its responses were razor sharp. At high speed, even a small steering input could become a death sentence. As the car entered the curve, everything happened too fast. Loss of control, impact with a light pole, then a roadside tree before flames erupted violently. For fans, the image was almost impossible to accept. The star of a franchise built around speed had lost his life in a real-world speed-related crash. The tragedy of Paul Walker and Roger Rodas left behind a harsh lesson. Movies have safety crews, closed roads, prepared vehicles, and carefully planned camera angles. Public streets do not. There is no second take, no stunt double to step in. And when a million-dollar machine loses control, fame, money, or experience are not enough to protect anyone from the laws of physics. Some crashes make headlines because of speed, others because of the car involved. But Stefan Eriksson's Ferrari Enzo crash became famous because the story behind it was almost too strange to believe. One morning on the Pacific Coast Highway, the red Enzo Ferrari's ultimate symbol of power and prestige was torn in half after a horrifying impact. People did not just see a destroyed supercar, they saw a mystery opening up right in the middle of the wreckage. According to reports at the time, the car was believed to be traveling at an extremely high speed before it lost control and slammed into a utility pole. Eriksson survived, but the story he told afterward turned the incident into a controversial legal drama. He claimed he had not been behind the wheel, saying another man named Dietrich had been driving. The problem was that this man seemed to vanish from the scene like a ghost. From a car crash, everything expanded into a story about identity, money, supercar ownership, and criminal allegations. A Ferrari Enzo was already rare enough to make the world look twice, but when it lay split in two on the side of the road, it became a symbol of the most dangerous kind of confidence, believing you can control not only speed, but also the consequences. A stupid game does not always end with laughter. It ended with police lights, a courtroom, and a million-dollar car reduced to scattered carbon fiber across the road. Do you think this crash was caused by recklessness, overconfidence, or the price of underestimating speed? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Hit like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next dramatic stories. Rowan Atkinson made the whole world laugh with his clumsy Mr. Bean persona, but in real life, he is a true car enthusiast, someone who understands cars and takes driving seriously. That is why his 2011 McLaren F1 crash was not the typical story of a celebrity showing off a supercar and paying the price. It felt more like a reminder that even an experienced driver can still be defeated by the road surface, the weather, and one brief moment of lost control. The McLaren F1 is a legend, extremely rare, brutally fast, rising in value over time, and regarded as a masterpiece of engineering. But on a wet road, even a legend still has to obey the laws of friction. The car slid off the road, struck a tree and a road sign, then caught fire. Atkinson was lucky to escape with a shoulder injury. That is the biggest difference between this story and many others. The person involved lived to tell it. What shocked people next was the repair bill. Nearly £1 million to get the McLaren back on the road. To an ordinary person, that number sounds like the price of a house. In the world of supercars, it was the cost of saving an icon. But the real lesson was not about money. It was the cold reality that a supercar does not need you to be reckless in order to punish you. All it takes is the wrong conditions, the wrong speed, the wrong road surface, and 1 second later, passion can turn into an accident. Some teenagers get behind the wheel of the family's old car for the first time. Gage Gillian got behind the wheel of a multi-million-dollar Pagani Huayra Roadster. That alone gave the story a very different tone. This was no ordinary case of crashing Dad's car. This was a supercar collector's dream, lying shattered on the side of the road after a moment many people believed should never have happened in the first place. The Pagani was not just a vehicle, it was a rolling piece of art.
The sad part, that car is really powerful, and that's kind of... So, should I say Mr. Pagani? If you are watching this, that was...
An extremely rare machine built to make people stare even when standing still. But in the hands of someone too young, someone rich in social media experience, but not necessarily mature enough for the real power beneath the accelerator, it became a dangerous test. The crash happened, the car was heavily destroyed, and Gage was lucky to walk away with only minor injuries. What made the story controversial was not just the wrecked car, but the reaction afterward. When privilege is that extreme, consequences can sometimes be reduced to a status update, a video, or a careless remark. But in real life, things happen is not always enough. With machines whose power far exceeds the driver's experience, immaturity does not just hurt a family's wallet, it can put other people in danger. This time, luck was still on their side, but luck is not a safety system. What do you think? Was this just a crash he was lucky to survive, or a warning about giving too much power to someone without enough real-world experience? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Hit like if you think this story is worth reflecting on. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next shocking accident profiles. Ryan Dunn became famous through Jackass, a world where people did dangerous, painful, bizarre things and turned them into comedy. Audiences were used to seeing him in outrageous stunts, used to the feeling that every fall would eventually end with laughter and the camera cutting to the next scene. But the 2011 crash had no laughter, no behind-the-scenes moment, no one getting back up and brushing off the dust. After a night out, Dunn drove his Porsche 911 GT3 at an extremely high speed. On a public road, that kind of speed was no longer excitement. It was a moving bomb. The car lost control, flew off the road, crashed into a tree, and burst into flames. Ryan Dunn and his friend Zachary Hartwell both died. In a single morning, a reality TV star became a tragic headline across America. Ryan Dunn's story carries an almost brutal lesson. You can make a living playing with risk on screen, but in real life, risk does not care how famous you are. Some jokes are only funny because they are controlled. Some reckless stunts only become legendary because the people involved survive. And sometimes, crossing the line does not turn you into a rebel icon. It only leaves behind family, friends, fans, and one painful question that comes too late. Why did it have to be that fast? Some crashes only kill the people inside the car. Others take the life of someone completely innocent. The Brendan Curry case belongs to the second kind, and that is what makes it so much heavier. A teenager behind the wheel of a Lamborghini SUV in intersection in West Los Angeles, a red light allegedly run, and Monique Munoz, a woman simply on her way home, never got the chance to continue riding the rest of her life. There was nothing cool about that moment. No engine sound is worth being proud of when it ends with a family losing their daughter. Monique was not part of any speed game. She did not choose the risk. She was simply living an ordinary day traveling on a road anyone should have the right to believe is safe. But someone else's decision came crashing straight into her life. After the crash came a wave of outrage along with questions about age, money, parental responsibility, fairness, and the legal price to be paid. A multi-million-dollar settlement may make headlines, but money cannot bring someone back to the family dinner table. This is the darkest side of supercar culture, when the person behind the wheel treats public roads like a stage. Unwilling spectators can become victims. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes, but sometimes that horrifying prize falls on someone who was never playing at all. In January 2009, Cristiano Ronaldo was one of the most watched soccer players in the world. Young, rich, famous, and known for his speed both on the field and in his garage. On his way to Manchester United training, he drove his Ferrari 599 GTB Fiorano through a tunnel near Manchester Airport. Just seconds later, the car slammed into a barrier, a wheel was torn off, and the front end was heavily destroyed. What made this crash memorable was not that it ended in death, but that it almost could have. Ronaldo walked away almost completely unharmed, then still continued on to training. It was a very Ronaldo-like image, calm, focused, as if he had just escaped an action movie scene and gone straight back to work. But for the Ferrari, the story ended right there, inside that tunnel. This crash felt like a softer reminder, but still a sharp one. Not every crash turns into a tragedy. Sometimes the seatbelt, the car's structure, the angle of impact, and luck all stand on the same side. But no one should confuse surviving it with being in control. Ronaldo lived, but the car became silent proof that speed on public roads can always collect its debt. This time the bill was a Ferrari. Another time it could be a human life. Would you call this courage luck or an extremely expensive wake-up call? Write your thoughts below. Hit like to help spread the message of safe driving. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the real stories behind these life or death moments. Some crashes do not need a famous name to leave viewers silent. On Mount Lindesay Highway in Queensland, a yellow Lamborghini Gallardo left the road after losing control. According to reports, witnesses said the car appeared to be speeding before the crash. When everything came to a stop, the two people inside, a man and a woman, were pronounced dead at the scene. What made this story even more painful was not the Lamborghini, nearly unrecognizable after the crash. It was the person left behind. A child lost both parents in the same moment. To the media, it was a fatal crash. To the police, it was an investigation file. But to that child, it was the day life was split in two, before the crash and after the crash. Supercars are often filmed in the sunlight, set to powerful music with proud, sweeping camera shots. But after this crash, what remained was a silent road, and a question no one wants to answer: is being a few seconds faster worth trading for an entire family? A highway is not the place to prove your courage, because when courage turns into recklessness, the price may not be paid by the driver alone. In Opelika, Florida, a sports car tore through a residential neighborhood at high speed, slammed into parked vehicles, and caught fire. One man died at the scene, while two women inside the car were seriously injured. There was no red carpet, no official race, and no reason big enough to justify that kind of scene in a neighborhood where residents only wanted a peaceful evening. Crashes like this are especially frightening because they happen in places that feel so ordinary. Not a racetrack, not a desert, not a speed event, just homes, sidewalks, parked cars, doorbell cameras, and neighbors stepping outside after hearing the impact. In an instant, a normal street turned into a crash scene. The lesson here does not need to be underlined. When speed shows up in the wrong place, everything around it becomes an obstacle. Parked cars, utility poles, fences, homes, and pedestrians. The driver may think they are in control of the vehicle, but at high speed, one slide is enough to turn the car into an object that no longer obeys. And when it barrels into a residential neighborhood, the consequences are no longer personal. Richard Losi was not the kind of person who bought a Ferrari Enzo just to keep it parked in a garage. He drove it, used it, and pushed it toward limits most owners would never dare to touch. But during one very high-speed run in Utah, the Enzo hit a rough stretch of road. At more than 200 miles per hour, rough road is no longer just a bump. It is the difference between grip and lifting off the ground. The Ferrari shot forward, lost control, rolled multiple times, and shattered across the desert. The engine was thrown from the car. Debris stretched across the ground like the aftermath of a plane crash. Losi was seriously injured but survived, an ending many people called a miracle. For many crashes on this list, the story ends in loss. But with Losi, the strangest part came afterward. He decided to restore the Enzo. Restoring the car did not erase the crash. It made the story even more complicated. It became both a symbol of passion and a reminder that extreme speed always comes with extreme risk. Some people look at it and see resilience. Others see a dangerous obsession. But no matter how you judge it, the Utah desert left behind an undeniable message. At more than 200 miles per hour, a person is no longer driving in any ordinary sense. They are gambling with physics. Supercars can represent passion, success, and the dream of speed. But when that power is used in the wrong place, one moment of lost control is enough to turn everything into tragedy. Behind every crash is not just twisted metal, but families' pain and lessons that should never be forgotten. Which story haunted you the most? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Hit like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next videos.